Well, it's a Monday morning. I see my hair kind of decided it's a Monday morning too. It's all right. I could really care less right now. So anyway, here we go. We are in week 4, headed through week 4 now of quarantine, house arrest. Good morning, Miss Joyce and Jan and Mr. Dan Curallo. Hey, I'm kind of disappointed in you, Dan. I watched your message last night and it wasn't alliterated, so I don't know what to tell you about that. But Carol, good to see you. I hope Nelson's listening. He needs extra dose of the scripture, especially on a Monday morning. So, but good morning, Suzanne and Lori. So Heath, lots of people on there this morning. So that's good. Melinda, good to see you. So yeah, you need to work on that, Dan. So good to see you guys, and hope we had a really good day yesterday. I thought it was I don't know, it was definitely different, but it was a good day, and I made sure that I wore my gray stocking cap so that it kind of matched my beard and my hair, so it didn't look much different. But first time I guess I preached like that outside. I've done funerals and some memorial things on outside before, but to actually preach on a Sunday morning message outside like that, especially when it was 22 degrees with the wind chill making it feel about 9 degrees. So, but anyway, it was a good day, and I believe God blessed our day yesterday, and definitely a different resurrection day, obviously different Easter Sunday, but it was a good day, and God blessed that. So so anyway, we'll get into this and continue to pray. Obviously, pray for those that have been infected by the virus. Pray for our country and the mess that they're in right now, and it's I do feel bad for those that have the virus, and we need to pray, and we do need to do our due diligence to stay safe. But I tell you, I get so tired of our politicians that they just don't show us at all that this is important. All they're doing is politicking, as you might say, and all that is just filling their own coffers, it seems like. But anyway, pray for our country that they will get things right, and sometimes it scares me a little bit that unless we start showing some humility, that this may go longer than we want it to, until people actually wake up, and that starts with those that know Christ as their Savior. So let us make sure that we are doing justly, love mercy, and walking humbly with thy God. And so that's where it starts with us as individuals. So that's where we need to begin. So not so much worried about the politicians, and not even so worried about your neighbors, but more so concerned about your own walk with God. And so I wake up this morning, have my coffee, sitting there in my chair, and thinking, okay, Lord, what is it that you have for me today? And I'm actually in my daily readings, I'm over in Joshua now, and had already read about Joshua taking out Jericho, and what a great story where he comes in and marches around the city for 7 days, and then yells and screams, and the walls come tumbling down, and you think, man, this is good. And then we see that because of that, the confidence that they had, and almost some arrogance maybe, they go into the next town of Ai, and they're like, yeah, we can take this, and tells me that they tell Joshua, he said, it's not that big a deal, and so it says they returned unto Joshua in verse 3 of Joshua 7, and said unto him, let not all the people go up, but let about 2,000 or 3,000 men go up and smite Ai. Make not all the people to labor thither, for they are but few. And so, and then they get thumped, and 30 some guys die that day, and they're like, what is going on? How in the world is how can we lose this battle so quickly? And then you get into Joshua 7, and you find out that there was a man by the name of Achan that had stolen some things, and God had said that when you go into Jericho, this is mine. And everything that's in Jericho is dedicated to God, and you need to give it to God, every bit of it. And we see that Achan didn't do that, and he took it, and he says in verse 20 of 7, he says in chapter 7, verse 20, and Achan answered Joshua and said, indeed, I have sinned against the Lord God of Israel, and thus have I done. When I saw among the spoils a goodly Babylonish garment and 200 shekels of silver, and a wedge of gold of 50 shekels weight, then I coveted them and took them, and behold, they are hid in the earth in the midst of my tent, and the silver under it. And for what? I mean, we just had one of the greatest victories that Israel had ever had, and then he wants to turn around and he wants to take might have been worth a few $1,000s maybe, and just truly sad to see how quickly things change. And now remember, when we're going into the land of Canaan, and the Israelites represent believers today, and so when we're going into the land of Canaan, it's not entering into heaven, it's actually entering into a victorious Christian life, and understanding the battles that are coming, because it's not heaven, because there's no battles in heaven. When we get to heaven, it's pure and it's righteous and it's good and it's holy and it's perfect, and so this doesn't represent heaven. This actually does represent believers and walking a victorious Christian life, and understanding that there are battles that are going to come. And we see one right here, the covetousness, and how he saw these things and he wanted it. And it just reminds me that, my devotion today, every bit of it was God firing a shot over my ship and telling me, you need to be paying attention to sin, and you need to make sure that you get it out of your life, and you make sure that you're walking with me, because here we see he did this. And so Joshua has him in front of everybody, so he takes him out and takes him outside the camp, and it says in verse 25, and Joshua said, why hast thou troubled us? The Lord shall trouble thee this day. And all Israel stoned him with stones and burned them with fire after they had stoned them with stones. Now, who was they? Well, Joshua and all Israel took with them Achan, the son of Zerah, the silver, the garment, the wedge of gold, his sons, his daughters, his oxen, his asses, his sheep, and his tent, and all that he had. And it was all gone. All of it was taken. And because of his disobedience, his entire family was wiped off the map. And we need to understand that if we're going to have God's blessings, then we need to be obedient to God and trust him and walk with him. And I saw Matt Sharp. It's good to see you on here. And Matt made a statement yesterday that had me thinking too. And we need to trust God more than we need to trust our government. We need to trust God more than we need to trust this doctor that's telling us about the virus and scaring everybody and plummeting our economy and everything else about it. And we need to trust God, and we need to walk with him, and we need to trust him, and we need to be obedient to him. And chapter 7 shows me, stay focused on him. Don't be looking at all the silver and everything else that's out there. Well, then it shows us in chapter 8 that Joshua goes in and they get things right now with God. He says, okay, God, you want us to take this? The Lord said, fear not, neither be thou dismayed. Take all the people of war with thee, and rise and go up to Ai. See, I have given into thy hand the king of Ai and his people and his city and his land. So when you're when you're walking with him and you're right with God, then you see that God blesses you and gives you a victory that we never had. And it tells us he goes into Ai. Remember, they went in with 3,000 soldiers. Well, this time God gives them a complete victory, and shows us the power that he has when he gives us victory. Joshua went in. He sent 30,000 men to come in behind Ai and hide out. He took another 5,000 men and approached them from the front, and then turned around and retreated, to where the enemy thinks, oh, we got the victory again. They come chasing the 5,000. They get out of the city. The other 30,000 come in, wipe the city out, kill everybody. Wipe the city out. The only thing they keep are the animals. Wipe everybody out. The people then, the soldiers see they've been tricked. And then we see that Joshua then turns on them, surround them, and they kill everybody. All the soldiers, everyone. And you ask yourself, why in the world why is God so hard? Because you got to remember, this is representing Christians today walking a victorious Christian life. You cannot have victory in your life unless you wipe the sin out. You got to wipe it out in your life. You can't coddle it. You can't pet it. You can't put it in the closet and bring it out later. It needs to be killed. It needs to be gone in your life, whatever it is, whatever the sin may be. I don't know what it is. I mean, pride, lying, fear, anxiety, stress, all of those things truly are sin when they're dominating our lives. And so, and we need to understand that when we go to God and we're obedient to him, he gives us an army that is stronger than anything we've ever dealt with. And he gives us the victory that we have. And then you're thinking, man, this is great. So they go in, they wipe out Ai, all is good. And then chapter 9 comes, and it came to pass when all the kings which were on this side Jordan, in the hills and in the valleys and all the coasts of the great sea over against Lebanon, Hittite, Amorite, Canaanite, Perizzite, Hivite, the Jebusite, heard thereof, that they gathered themselves together to fight with Joshua and with Israel with one accord. It tells me the battle gets harder. And we win this victory, praise the Lord. We win it today, moment by moment we walk with God. Guess what? You wake up tomorrow, new battle, new day, do it again. And we keep doing that. We just continue to trust him. And I read Psalm 37, verse 5 again, where it says, cast thy burden upon the Lord. And that cast means to roll it upon God. And so you take that burden and you roll it upon him. Excuse me. But then you see what else you do is you roll yourself up on it too. And you allow God to carry you. And you walk with him. And when he's your shield, when he's the one that's your strength, that he gives you the battle that you need. And so what do we do if we're letting God control us like that? Well, he tells us in Proverbs 1 and verse 10, my son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. So stay away from those that are trying to take you down and that are leading you down a path that you shouldn't go down. And so you stay away from them. But then I also read this morning, Proverbs 28:13, he that covereth his sins shall not prosper, but whoso confesseth and forsaketh them shall have mercy. So it really is a good Monday morning for me, because I see this and God reminds me that, hey, you want to have a good week? You want to have a victorious week? Then you get the sin out of your life. And you confess whatever, and that's what I did, sit there this morning, and it's okay, Lord, I want these things out of my life. And confess those things, whatever, ask God, Lord, what is it that's in my life that's wrong? And convict me of that right now. And I confess it, and I acknowledge to you that it's wrong, and I want to get it right. And we do that. I mean, we all have that same issue, and don't live like the Pharisees, because I read this morning too, in Luke 16, verse 15. And he said unto them, Jesus was saying this to the Pharisees, ye are they which justify yourselves before men. So don't be comparing yourself to other people and saying, well, my walk is better than their walk. Well, God doesn't care for that. He's like, how's your walk? Don't be worried about them. How's your walk today? And here they were, they just wanted to make themselves holy in comparison to other people. and you justify yourselves before men, but God knoweth your hearts. For that which is highly esteemed among men is abomination in the sight of God. Quit walking around and let everybody think that you got everything in line and your perfect walk, and you walk humbly with God, and you walk pure with God by confessing things to God. And when you see somebody battling with sin, you help them with it. How we need to learn to do that. I think there are times where maybe I come across wrong, and I don't want to. Sometimes people think that I make a mockery of sinners in what they're doing, and that's a furthest thing from the truth. I think that my heart goes out to everyone that's dealing with sin in their lives, and we all do. Now, there are some that are dealing with addictions that everybody see, and I think it's those that sometimes they think I'm being hard on. Look, hey, God's here to help us all. And honestly, if you think about it, we all have some kind of an addictive behavior, and there are things in our lives that give us such a struggle and such a battle. And so I'm not sitting here condemning anybody for that, but I'll always hate those things in this world that entice us to do things that aren't right according to God. And yeah, it does tick me off that the pot shops are open during this time, the liquor stores are open during this time, and they say a church. We got to take precautions in our drive-in service that Walmart doesn't even have to think about doing, and it's the church and it's the preaching of the word that's going to give people victory in their lives, because honestly, all of this has been brought on by sin, and our whole world is crumbling because of sin. And well, God just showed me today. Welcome to Monday morning. You probably thought, man, we're going to have all tulips and daisies today, and preacher's going to be in a good mood because it's a good day yesterday, and I am. But I think he's given us a fair warning, guys, that not only for me and my personal devotion, but when I share this to you, that he's given us a warning, and he's telling us all, let's start Monday out right. Let's go through the week, and let's confess quickly sin in our lives, and we're going to see God do just amazing things in our lives, and when we're obedient to him, he gives us a great victory, and we thank God for that. So you guys hang in there. Week number 4, and so remember Monday. So you need to put on your Monday afternoon pajamas here pretty soon, and don't go to Walmart in your pajamas, okay? But anyway, some of them probably came to church in their pajamas yesterday because they all sat in the truck and I couldn't see them, so that's probably a good thing. Anyway, it's a good day. God bless you guys, and have a wonderful week. And look, if there's somebody on here, or you know somebody that's really struggling, have them call me. Be happy to help you guys any way that I can during this time, and I pray for our church family, and love you guys. So have a good day today.